Welcome to the Personal Development Mastery Podcast. I'm 𝘁࿴𝗸𝗄𝘆𝗀 and my mission is to inspire you to rise up, grow, stand out and take action towards the next level of your life. I interview leaders, influencers, entrepreneurs, authors, exceptional people who can and will inspire you to improve your life. Tune in for 2 episodes each week and make sure you subscribe to the podcast to get the episodes as soon as they are released. In today's show, it is my real pleasure to speak with Gül Sönmez. Gül, you have an amazing story of transformation. You were raised in a conservative society in Turkey where the only way for a woman to have a better life was by being successful. So you got the career, the marriage, the promotions, the house, car, a seemingly idyllic life, and then you started to manifest injuries and pain on your body. That initiated a long healing journey, first with modern medicine and then with self-healing. You studied 3 religions, over 100 books on healing, you tried numerous healing modalities, and you say that even though they helped, the transformation was slow. And since then, you've had some consecutive big shifts in your life. You moved to Luxembourg, you had a realization about the truth on what healing really is, and that allowed you to uncover your own gifts as a healer. And last year you created a 6-figure healing business just through referrals. So Gül, it's a real pleasure to speak with you today. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you. It's also really nice to be here today.
I want to start with some elements of your story, which I already gave away a few bits there, but I wanted to ask, there are two moments that for me strike very much. The first one was your decision to leave Turkey and live your life as you had experienced behind you and start a new life in Luxembourg. And we were talking earlier, I can relate personally with that because I left my home country as well to move to another country. So do you want to share a little bit of your circumstances at that time and help the listener understand a little bit more?
Yeah. So it was actually now 4 years ago. It was actually that time I was working, I don't know if you can use brand. I was working at Coca-Cola. I was a marketing manager. And I had a pretty good life actually because of my corporate job. I had a pretty good life, nice house, I had my yoga classes, my dance classes, and my really, really nice corporate job. But I really wanted to get out to look for more because somehow I was feeling that I cannot be myself and there are more things I can do. And actually that time it was 5th year on my healing journey. And I had a healer. She was an Armenian lady in Istanbul. She was my first healer and a teacher. Mm-hmm. She was the one who always had visions. So she was always telling me, you need to be a healer. They're telling me you have to be a healer. You have to start working with people. And I always say, no, my career is amazing. I don't have patience to work with people. It's not me. Your visions are good, but probably they're wrong. And she was like, you're scared here. You need to go. You need to be left alone. You will start there. And in one session, I remember we had a session with her. There was a lot of tears. And she said, you're going this time. But that week, Amazon reached out to me, another corporate company in Luxembourg. So nothing to do with healing. And we start doing interviews and they offered me a job in Luxembourg. Literally in 2 months, I came to Luxembourg with another corporate job. Mm-hmm. But this time I had an agent who helped me with the move, the international relocation from one country to another, especially if you're coming from a different country. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of paperwork. We became friends with her and she was the only person I told about my self-healing journey. We became friends. She lost her husband through cancer. And in the hospital, she tried pranic healing, something like that, different kind of Reiki. So she could relate to me. She could understand me. But after I moved in 3 months, she called me one day crying and said, my older son, Noah, that time he was 12, got a brain surgery. He had a headache, and they took him to hospital, and they realized there is a huge tumor in his brain, and they did an emergency surgery, and he couldn't wake up. He was half paralyzed and in coma. And she said, can you come to hospital to do your healing? And to be honest, I wanted to say no. I was like, no, I'm sorry, and hang up. But I couldn't, because it was a mother crying, it was a kid. And somehow, I don't know, she asked for me. And I said, okay, of course I'm coming. I still remember, I came home. I had no idea what to bring. I took one piece of Reiki things. I took one piece of all the little statues, like statue of Jesus, statue of Buddha, statue of everything I found, like trying to hold on to something, crystals. And I went to hospital. And of course, doctors didn't let me in because it's a special unit. The kid was in a special unit and watched by the machines all over him. And there is a glass. So it's not, he's in coma. It's not a normal hospital room. And of course, they didn't let me in, because who is she? Healer. Very big question. In a hospital in Luxembourg. So these kind of things are not very common. But the mother was Luxembourgish, and she was fighting with the doctor. And she's like, no, I'm the mother. I have right to put her in this room. While they were debating, I called my first teacher and I said, what I'm going to do? I couldn't say no to her. I'm in here. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I never healed anyone. I was just working on myself. I always say, still I am obsessed with my own healing on the way I work with people. That time I was not working with anyone. And she told me, you're so ready. Look, this is the situation they put you. When you go into the room, if you're scared, you're going to only give fear to this kid. If you trust yourself, you will immediately make the connection. I've been training you for 5 years. You are the best of best. You only need to get rid of this feeling if you're not good enough. Pull yourself together. Look at the eyes of the mother. Get in the room. Okay, I close the phone and the mother get me inside the room. But of course, they're watching. So it's not like I'm alone in the room. There is this glass, and the doctors are not happy that I'm there. And it's my 3rd month in this country. So when you are coming with them from outside to European Union, you need to have residency permit and work permit. And it is tied in 6 months. It's a trial period. Yeah. So in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I'm a fraud. They're going to send me back. What the hell I'm doing here? I was just thinking those thoughts. I was very scared. And because everyone was looking at me, I take a deep breath and put my hands on the kid. But I was just thinking, Gül, what do you think you're doing? You never healed anyone. You couldn't say no to the mother. Okay, try to calm down. You're a fraud. What are you doing? I was just talking to myself. And that kid in coma moved his hand and tried to get rid of his stitches. And his hand was paralyzed. Because I was so scared, I was probably freaking his soul out, because I was just passing my fear to him. And the machine started, me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to jail. But that moment, I don't know. I still asked to Sabrina, how did you do it? The mother came, hold his hands, look at me and said, Gül, I trust you. After that, I don't remember. After that, I really made the connection. Suddenly, everything I studied for 5 years were in alignment. I could hear them. I could relate to the masters. I could relate to the angels. I could relate to the energy. And I started to make the comments, and I lost it. I don't even remember how long. When I opened my eyes, the grandmother was outside crying. The mother was with me saying, thank you. Doctors were discussing if they give me a card to get there and do some healing. Because he was in machines, they realized his brain waves change. And for them, it was good. It was like, okay, this would help him healing process. Okay, she can come. This was my first client. I by the way, he's my best friend now, because when I tell this story, everybody is so scared. So it took very long because he was half paralyzed. So he stayed in this hospital very long. I think I went there 3-4 months maybe. Then he transferred to another hospital for paralyzed kids with the hand. So he did his walk, his first steps. Still he has some issues with the hand, but he's back to life. I'm seeing him every week. I'm trying to teach him this kind of things, because when I say everybody's, what happened to the kid? He's good, no, and he's 16 now. He's a big boy. This is how I started. So this is why I think I needed to come here. And when I started like this, of course, there was so much demand. People were asking, can we work with you? Do you do sessions? And this is how I started, actually.
How did that event change your way of thinking about your own healing?
I think I love Rumi. So if one thing is I'm obsessed with Rumi, I think he's one of the best poets, one of many. And he always say, what you seek is seeking you. So although it was from outside, you think that I was healing him, because nobody heals nobody. Everybody heals themselves. We're just messengers. He was healing me, because in order to work with him in the hospital environment, I had to go through a lot of self-healing for myself. I had to work on my issues by myself, because up to that time in Turkey, I had someone to go to. So I could get rid of my issues. Either I go to a healer or I go to a therapy, I talk with my friends. But suddenly I was in a country which I don't know anyone. I was stuck with a corporate job. And suddenly, of course, my corporate job didn't resonate with me, because I was a vendor manager. You cannot sell during the day and go and help
Heal people at night.
Yeah, it doesn't happen like that. And I started to struggle a lot. I started to see more people, but I was fully working over the weekends over healing, but during the busy days, and I started to lose it. Then this helped me to change all my career. Then I changed my job to a training job where I'm a bit more, I was touching people during the day as well. I was more aligned. Then I changed to part-time. Yeah.
It's an amazing story, and I want to discuss a bit further. You said something that you realize that everyone heals themselves.
Yes.
And that's, of course, you know that it is an option that many people find it very difficult to grasp, because they expect, especially the people who have grown and trusted the Western medicine, they expect the doctor to heal them, or the medicine to heal them, or the treatment to heal them. So I want your thoughts in how is that. Personally, I understand what you mean, but how do you expand on this, that we heal ourselves and it's not the doctor or the medicine that does it?
Yeah. So thank you for asking that, because I think it's a very misunderstood concept of healing. As long as you pay me money, you don't need to do anything. So I always say, if your healer tells you that, just run away. I spend hours and money and time, because it's not just the money, time on different healing methodologies. And the only thing I can do, if you don't sit and do them, it's never the same effect. It's never the same effect. So when I start seeing people after 1 year, because I was always booked, my first clients were physically sick, because they had physical symptoms. When their physical symptoms was not there anymore, they couldn't get pregnant, they get pregnant. They had skin disease, they don't have skin disease. They had back pain problems, they become runners. Because it was the physical, I was lucky, or this is what gave to me, because I was not trusting myself. I need to do the physical evidence. This is why I start to get more and more people. It was easy to say that it was working. But after working with hundreds of people, I start to see a pattern. And I've been working in corporate all my life, so I like to analyze the data. And I hate the data of my own clients. So there were some who were doing amazing transformations, and there were some who was feeling good, feeling bad, feeling good, feeling bad, like a zigzag. And when I look at the ones who were persistent and the ones who were doing the exercises I give them as homework, let's say, they were transforming boom, like a laser. They were changing, because we worked on the inner blocks, inner issues. When those inner issues were not there anymore, they were able to change their jobs, change their life, change their relationships. We were not working on changing the job. But when you do the internal shifts, external shifts always come as a consequence. And I realized now I'm more happy to see those shifts with people. I want to take them on transformation journey. So actually 2 years ago, I said, okay, I'm not working like this. I'm only working with people on a 3-month program. This is where my business expanded. right the last 1 year, because last 1 year I became a 6-figure entrepreneur and left my corporate job, and I just took it to part-time, spend more time on this healing. The transformation was I binded people by a contract saying that you need to work with me for 3 months and you have to do the exercises I give you. And all my clients know, after I give them 3 chances. In shamanism, you believe the chance of 3. You give them, okay, you couldn't do it this week. Okay, next week. On the 3, I drop them as clients. I don't work with them anymore because everybody is healing themselves. People like me are channelers. I see us like messengers. So we can only go what you're ready to show us. When I tune in, of course, I can go to psychically their childhood trauma, but only when they let me. And we always look for a healing outside. Somebody would come and heal us. What I do, I only let them to realize the issue, because instead of asking them, I can hear the voices and I say, they're telling me this is what happened at 5 years old. They're telling me this is what happened when you're 12 years old. They're telling me you're very angry to this person now. Because I confront them, then we worked on what they get out of this situation and how they can get out. So it would be a big lie if I say I'm the healer. I'm really just a messenger, and they put a lot of effort. But on my journey, usually most healing modalities, because it's a huge sector. As long as you pay, you come to me, it's okay. I always say I'm not a pamper kind of healer. You have to do your side of the story. Otherwise, you cannot work with me for 2 years. There's something wrong. You can work with me with 3 months. Sometimes, 6 months. Sometimes I work with addicts. So with them, I do a 6-month program. But other than that, you cannot work me more than that, because I don't know how your struggles hit you, but my struggles never hit me when I was able to go to a healer. My struggles hit me at night. My struggle hit me when there's no one around me. I remember the nights that I put my heart out crying, lying on the floor, are the nights that I'm alone. So we all need to learn how to self-heal and how to move forward. This is why this was the biggest change I realized, because when I came to Luxembourg, I had to self-heal myself. I had no choice. I had to put everything into practice. And it's amazing. The more you do it, the more you get used to doing it. and you really see it. I have so many clients first telling me, I don't feel anything in my palm. I'm like, okay, because you only tried once. You need to do it 10 more times, then you're going to feel in your palms. Yeah, I really feel. I'm not like you. I cannot hear them. Okay, because you only did once. This is why I give you this specific meditation for 28 days. So that you will hear. So this is why self-healing is the key. You just need to learn how to tune into you and rely on you. There's no other way.
That's fantastic, and I would like to ask her a bit more about that. And so I want your thoughts on this. My understanding is that an illness is, when it manifests on the physical body, that is, it has manifested beforehand. So the actual manifestation on the body is the last stage. So we have to go up the stream, as we say, rather than dealing only with the physical symptoms. And this is the self-healing that you refer to, I suppose. Can you tell me what kind of internal struggles could there be causing physical symptoms like that? Can you give us some examples from your own clients, or maybe from your own, so that we get the idea of what kind of things could it be?
Yeah, of course. So I can give clients examples for those ones who gave me right to tell, the ones that are already on my website. But I can always say, so when there is a physical sickness, I always say it's a signal. Look at this signal, take care of this signal. So I had a thyroid disease, but my thyroid didn't. I always say to my clients, if you have thyroids, we need to work a lot, because thyroid doesn't come in one day. Thyroid disease usually happens when you are not able to tell your own truth. But first it comes in, you start to have lots of cold flu, you cough a lot. So all these throat problems, first they start to come, and you keep ignoring, and then you realize, boom, one day, I have thyroid. This is why usually thyroid is a little bit, the most cases I see were after 30s. Mine also came after 30s. So they always send the signals to us through the illnesses. They always say, look at that. When I started the healing journey, actually, I went to this lady, this healer, not because I wanted to. I started to manifest bone diseases. So suddenly, one day, I had meniscus, but I'm not doing any sports that time. This is 8 years ago we're talking. I was not doing any sports. I didn't have any accidents. So I was walking and suddenly I had such a pain. And after the doctors, they're like, okay, this is very serious. And they sent me to a physiotherapy, and they say you need to have a surgery because I really couldn't, because the pain was real. So I was asking doctors, maybe I'm crazy. I'm thinking of there's the pain. And they were just pushing and I was screaming and the pain was real. And I started to see physiotherapy, and they give me 2 batch of physiotherapies. But that time, my right hand, I still remember, my right hand blocked. So I was in the office, and one day I couldn't write anymore. It was so painful. I couldn't move my finger, the first finger. I couldn't make the first finger move. And I went to the MRIs, micro hand surgeons, and they couldn't find anything on the MRI. But because I couldn't move it, I had the injections, then I had to wait in the thing. You know, when you break your hands, they put your
splint.
So, yeah, I had to wait in splint, but still I couldn't move it. And they say, okay, it's an overuse disease. But I was not using my hands overly. I was just a normal office. I was not a coder because I was not a gamer. So I was not using my hand more than anyone. That time, actually, I was scared of the operations. Because of my bone issues, I already had 2 operations. And when you have operations, the anesthesia is really hard. It's very heavy on the body. So I said, okay. And one of my friends that time booked that lady for me. She said, Gül, look, there is this lady. She's doing healing sessions. And I remember, I was like, what? Bullshit. I don't believe in this kind of thing. And she said, what can you lose? Like, you're going to have an operation for a disease that you have no idea. Just go and try. And I remember Solin, who became my teacher later, the first session, she was like, what's your problem? And I told her, look, my life is amazing. I have an amazing job. I have an amazing husband. That time I was married. I had an amazing husband, amazing life. But it's just my body is always, I don't know why now I cannot move my hand. And she said, it's your right hand. Do you have issues with your husband or with your father? And I remember I was like, how dare you? I have no issues with anyone. My husband is so loving. My father is amazing. And she was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you don't need to tell me anything. Can you just lie on the sofa? I was like, okay. I just lie on the sofa. And I said, this is when the realization, I had to look the part of my life that I was very unhappy, but I couldn't move. Also meniscus. If you have meniscus, you cannot move. I was very, the safety net and what others were saying was so strong, I couldn't move. Actually, I was very unhappy in my marriage. We were like best friends. He was such a nice guy, but we had no love between us because we had in conservative societies, my father didn't let us live in the same house. So we had to marry. And I married very young. And when we grow up, we were totally different because who you are at 22 and who you are at 28 or 30, 35, you're different people. And we were so nice to each other, like best friends, but we were so different. We have no passion to each other, nothing. But we were so scared to leave because it was looking perfect from our side, because both our families would react. And I had to bury the label of a divorced woman. For me, I was so sad and so scared. I was playing a game. So those kind of realizations I had to go through. And then, of course, my hand, I never had a surgery. I never had meniscus surgery, by the way. Also, my meniscus came back when I moved to Luxembourg. So again, I was diagnosed here the 3rd time. And I went to physiotherapy the 3rd time. And I was telling my physiotherapist, don't worry, I need to figure out why I cannot walk this time. And the guy was like, you're quite weird. But actually, I never got surgery again. So this is why if you have the disease which doesn't let you move, you should look, what are you scared to move? So our body is very, very wise. The skin problems, acne skin problem was a big part of my journey. This is why actually I studied anatomy a lot, to understand why I keep manifesting acne on some issues. And my second client had a very severe skin disease. So I had to work on skin disease. And I realized that skin disease, especially acne, comes when you need to really do deep forgiveness work. Mm-hmm. It could be to you if it's on the cheek. I always see it, the case is on the cheek. It is more related to your intestine area. So it's more issues like abandonment, issues like not feeling love. But if it's on your forehead, usually the issues are more anger, resentment. So they all talk.
When you say forgiveness, they all talk, yes, absolutely. And I remember reading a catalog or a book or a part of a book at some point that described each symptom and what underlying emotional or other struggles might be there.
Yeah. And it's it's very easy these days. You can just write emotion body, and on Google you see like where all the emotions are on the body. So you can actually at least give you an idea. Okay, here's the anger and my problem is in this area. Here is the insecurity and my problem is in this area. Here's related to safety. So for example, lower back, safety. You can also find those things very easily.
Absolutely, and I think it just needs to start with an open mind that maybe there is something else there, especially with all those, I was trained as a dentist with a Western medical background, so I'm very much, have that scientific approach that I want evidence. But on the other hand, I realize very well those limitations because the evidence we have right now is the evidence we have right now. We don't know what we will know in 5 or 10 or 100 years. So by believing there's nothing else but this, we're immediately limiting ourselves very much. So looking at different possibilities, I think it's a very important thing. It doesn't matter whether you will go down that path or not, but at least explore them for yourself and see what else might there be there, rather than, I'm thinking of some people who blindly follow the doctor's orders because they have been conditioned that the doctor is the ultimate authority on their own health and not themselves. Whereas we are in control of ourselves. The doctor or the healer or whoever else, as you said, only helps or is the messenger or the facilitator, if you wish.
But it's amazing. It's changing because this year I have clients who are doctors. I have clients who are cancer researchers. So even though on their daily job, they're just working with scientific experiments. Like one guy he's working in the US for cancer research. He's a PhD, but on the evenings, he can work on spirituality to actually help and be better at his job. So it's kind of merging. And I recently watched a movie. There was an amazing phrase. If you like this kind of things, please watch it. It's called I Origins. There was a little worm, and the girl was trying to say to the other one scientific who doesn't believe in spirituality. She was saying, look, this worm only has 2 senses. But over the years, we had the evolution. Now we have 5 senses. But that time, this worm only couldn't see the sun. But the sun was there because the worm doesn't have the eyes. So it doesn't mean the sun is not there. And I always say, it doesn't mean the angels are not there. Maybe we don't see them, but it is there and they always help and they're magical. They helped me when I was touching that kid and thinking, oh my God, I have no idea what I'm going to do. They're going to put me in jail. They helped me. And I say they help to everyone. You just need to learn how to tune in, how to connect and be patient and practice.
Gül, you mentioned earlier the word forgiveness, that you have to do some forgiveness words. So when you say forgiveness, do you mean towards others or towards ourselves?
This is the topic that I'm super passionate because I see so for now I had chance to do more than 1,000 sessions. So I'm just talking based on this 1,000 sessions data, but I have people who are Orthodox, who are Christian, who are Buddhist, who are American, who are from Canada, who are from Middle East, Pakistan, Turkey. So everybody has different backgrounds. Okay, everybody has different beliefs. Everybody has different ways of spirituality. But usually the issues come down and down and down to one or two main things. First one is self-forgiveness, meaning that self-compassion. Okay, I was in this situation, I did that, but what I learned, and I'm ready to forgive myself. And I always say with the self, it's more than compassion. This is the first thing I see, to the self. It is the most important, because we're very critical to ourselves. Our inner voice is keep telling you're wrong, keep telling you're late, keep telling you're doing something wrong. And it will always be there. Mm-hmm. So we just need to learn how to navigate this. This is the one chunk. Second, the parents. So I know psychologists, healers, coaches, everybody likes to talk about parents. My mom always say, I don't understand you. If there is no parent issue, how these psychologists are going to make money? Okay, mom. But with parents, we spend so much time on forgiveness. I just find out that it's actually more, again, compassion. Because sometimes who we are to forgive them. And they did what they could do with the resources that they have. Because I spent 6 years to forgive my own mother. Okay, I was going to healing sessions, cutting the course, telling her I forgive you. And to be honest, I was not. The block was still there. Still, I had acne issues, by the way. This is why I said the transformation was slow. Mm-hmm. But what I find out is it's when I try to send compassion, it's like, okay, I understand why you were like this. And I know you're not going to change unless you want to. Unless you want to. But I am okay to love and accept you like this. Thank you for everything. It's a different feeling. When you do this kind of work, you feel more like compassion rather than forgiveness. And there are others who hurt us. So there are some dark souls or dark people, whatever you call, they betrayed us. So it is a different kind of forgiveness. You were, for example, you were ready for your wedding and suddenly the guy disappears with your best friend. Mm-hmm. So it's really hard to work on compassion there. Okay, I understand you. No, that kind of situation, or you're having mobbing at the workplace. Your manager is constantly mobbing you. So you need to forgive, but it's a different type of forgiveness. Because I tried to forgive the people who really hurt me. Mm-hmm. I was still holding the little anger within me. And this anger is a very dangerous one because it's usually stored in the liver. This is why liver cleansing is so popular right now. It is quite hard when somebody hurts you. So in this time, you need to work on the definition of true forgiveness, because true forgiveness is not justifying what they did to you. Sometimes I work in very brutal rape cases with my clients. It's not, okay, let's justify your rape or say that you love him, understand why he's done to you. It doesn't work like that. It's a very heavy, traumatic pain. Mm-hmm. And the pain is on the skin. The pain is in the bones. You feel the pain. It's not like, I'm angry at my mother kind of pain. In those situations, we need to learn forgiveness is just to understand and let it out of your system. And it takes time. It takes time because you need to understand why it happened and how this situation really served you. What were the lessons for you in this lifetime? And how can you look at it from those points so you can find the forgiveness within? It's not to talk to that person. It's not to justify, okay, this person did this, but I was also in that situation. No. It's just to understand so that you can let it out of your system so that it doesn't bother you there. So that you're not stuck in this memory. Because sometimes my clients say, you're such a heart. How do you forgive these people? I can't. I'm like, me? No. I don't as well. The forgiveness I do is different for those kind of cases. So this is why forgiveness is a very big topic. And there are I say there is also the daily issues, picnic issues. So for example, you were not, but just an example, you were late to this call and I was angry at you. Why he was late? By the way, for the listeners, he was not late, just on time. It's just an example. And I get angry at you. So this anger, you don't carry it on your body so much. So you can easily, by just looking at the perspective, you can easily let it go. Because the one thing, life happens at all times. So there will be always someone who makes us angry. There will be always betrayals. There will be always things going on in the life. And we all have parents. I think Ram does say it. If you think you're enlightened, just go and spend 1 week with your family. He has an amazing quote, which I love. I say, everyone, you hear me now in the session. Oh God, send me 1 week with my mom alone. I want a totally different person. So life will, life will always happen. So you need to practice is daily. I listened to your show about morning routines and I loved it because routines, really, I really loved it and I resonated a lot because I'm also a huge water drinker. I believe in the mornings as well. As you explained, the routines take some time. Forgiveness is also a routine you need to create because in most of the societies, you're not raised like this. I don't remember my parents telling me, first you first need to love and forgive yourself. They used to tell me what neighbor says, what teacher says, be careful, look perfect, mind how you walk, your skirt is short. So they were minding what's happening in their society. Or for some Western cultures, it's all about being successful. So when they were kids, they were always hearing how to compete with the other kid. So now it's changing. Now people are more, first love and forgive yourself is coming more. But because we don't know, we're not trained, we don't know how to do it. This is why it's a long practice.
Sure. And I understand what you said earlier about forgiving at, let's say, more superficial level of saying that, I forgive you or I forgive myself, and actually going deeper and realizing that fulfillment on a different level. I want to ask, let's say someone listening to this now has issues, whatever that might be, with forgiving himself or herself. I know it's very general what I'm saying, but what's a very first step that someone could take towards changing that if they're struggling with their own self-forgiveness?
So there are a couple of things that they can do. And in this case, let's assume they cannot get help, right? So they cannot work with someone, what they can do by themselves.
As a first step, of course, working with someone, I suppose that's the ideal thing.
Working with someone is the ideal because they can help you to go there a bit more faster or teach you the tools faster. But still, there's a lot of things you can do by yourself. The thing that I really love is really, really journaling. Why I cannot forgive myself. But when you journal, please not 1 page. You need to write minimum 3 because usually the first paragraphs, you're still superficial. You're still in the mind. This is why I always say write minimum 3 pages until your hand couldn't make it. And they always ask me, can I write on computer? So if you're not comfortable writing with pen or paper, okay. But I highly advise write it with the hand because I also listen on your podcast. You also say there is a power of the ink.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yes.
So it is the same. The reason is when you write, it's from you tap into your subconscious mind.
It's a ritual.
It's a ritual. And believe me, so I remarried again and I'm with a really, really soulmate who's very helping my transformation with very high life lessons. And sometimes he drives me so crazy, literally crazy. And on those times, I always take my pen and paper and I start writing. In the first page, I just write, I hate him, I'm so angry, how dare you, blah, 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 all these kind of things. Yes. But usually on the 3rd or 4th page, I have nothing to do with him. I tap into very, very deep issues. Then when you finish, you're like, okay, now I found the issue. It's just to find issue. Then you can do self-forgiveness meditations because self-forgiveness meditations are guided meditations which are helping you by saying, okay, now focus on that other person, say this and this and this. So they kind of help you to tap into and practice forgiveness. It's also a really, really good way. The second one is meditation. So there are lots of scientific research on meditations. I'm sure you talked about them a lot, but you can it helps to reduce anxiety. It helps to reduce head pain. It helps you to sleep better. It also helps you to forgive. For this, you can use a guided self-forgiveness meditations. I record a lot of self-forgiveness meditations for my clients, especially when they have very deep issues, like really big trauma. And there is also a free one. If you're interested, you can also check the free one. Then it's not a way. Then I'm a huge fan of affirmations. If you are interested on self-healing, Louise Hay is the godmother of this topic. Her books are really good written, really well written for those who wants to work on themselves. She has amazing books on how to heal yourself. The only thing, affirmations takes more time than working with a deep healing session. So it is better to combine, but still they do wonder. You just need to put a big affirmations. I'm ready to love and forgive myself more and more every day. But with affirmations, she explains them really well. It's like tomato seeds. If you read her book, it's not that tomato. Yeah, it's like you put the tomato seed, you put the affirmation, then you keep water. You don't give up in the second day. Oh, there's no tomato. Okay, Baba, I'm not going to put more water. You wait, you keep water. Then something green comes up. You don't need that thing. You keep watering. And then another green but round comes up, something hard. You don't give up, you wait, and then you have the juicy tomato. It is the same with forgiveness. Once I had a client who lost her hair due to stress. So she had very little hair left. And I was telling her to do affirmations. And then we recorded 10 minutes. So I love my hair. I love my scalp. My hair grows easily. We just talk about issues with the hair, stress, and scalp. But her job was to listen at 10 minutes every morning and every evening. So I know it's an effort. It's easy to say, but when you put 10 minutes, it is not that easy in a busy daily life. So people want to hear that. And in 3 days, her hair came back. I wish to say that. I would make millions if I say that. Her hair came back after 3 months. It started to grow. After 3 months, it started to grow. After 4 months, they really grow. And good 6 months. So for affirmations, we need to be just patient and give whatever the person you cannot forgive. Just put it out there. I'm ready to love and forgive more and more every day. Like this affirmation is always here. You cannot see, I'm showing it on the camera. I have my affirmations. I see them every day. And I've been in this journey for 8 years now. I still didn't give up on my affirmations. But yes, now it's easier to forgive. Now it's easier to love myself. Mm-hmm. And imagine during the day, you keep saying the negative. So you just need to
balance it.
Yeah, balance it. And the other thing I always say for self-forgiveness, this is 3. So it's always mind, body, and soul. Mm-hmm. So it's not just mind, not just body, not just soul. And usually the things we couldn't forgive are stored in the liver area. Yeah, guilt, resentment, because forgive means we're either angry or there's some betrayal going on or they did something to us. We have maybe for long years, we have the hatred. So when you look at any Chinese medicine, all this kind of hatred, anger, these things are usually stored in inner organs. So this is why, of course, drinking lots of water, doing the cleansing in the organ. In yoga, they do kind of some poses where you need to really stretch your inner organs. So the body part also really, really helps. I was not using the body part before, to be honest, but last year I realized when we add some physical exercise to the weekly routine of my clients, the results are even faster. So you can also check what kind of exercises you like, but a simple yoga, simple walk, all these kind of things are also really, really helping the forgiveness journey.
I would also like to ask you the quick fire questions which I ask at the end of the podcast. You were telling me you listen to the podcast, so you.
Yeah, I did. I really did listen. I'm not saying it because you take me as a host. I really, as a guest, I will not tell everyone. Really listen the morning routine, and it's a really, really good one. And I really resonated with most of the things you said. Mm-hmm.
So tell me then, what does personal development mean to you, especially through this journey that you've been?
I think for me, because I was in situations where on the paper I had everything. But the inner peace, more than inner peace, I call it inner integrity. Like for me, personal development is a journey which helps you just to be in the alignment. So you don't understand the journey. You don't want to end up anywhere. But every day you're like, I'm in alignment. So right now I'm in alignment because I'm talking to you. I'm in alignment because I have this session. I'm in alignment because I'm just looking at the sun. It's kind of a feeling that you feel. So because sometimes personal development, we take it too much and it burns out. So it's not a burning out journey. It's a journey where you feel more and more in alignment with yourself, with the soul.
And what advice would you give to your 18-year-old self if you could go back in time?
So I think she wouldn't listen to me because I was a very
Probably
different.
not.
She would say, yeah, whatever, weird lady who talks. Because look, my mother figured out what I'm doing last year. I even couldn't tell her that I'm hearing voices. And the first thing she told me, wow, you were like this when you were 3 years old. We did everything to stop, to give you the best education. And after all this year, you're there back again. So I think my 18 years old was very snobbish. She think that working in corporate, having a good life is more important than anything. She would not listen to me. But I only wish that she started the basics, journaling, meditating, and just one easy mindful practice. It could be just walking in nature a little bit earlier than just trying to get somewhere. Because she was so obsessed trying to go for the next. I think she couldn't really enjoy the ride. So this was the only thing. Just start at least with 10-minute meditation. I know you're not going to understand me. Don't worry. Please start with this.
Awesome. And if you could change something, wave a magic wand and change something in the world as it is today, what would that be?
This I really want. Sometimes I practice that I'm talking to God and he says, okay, Gül, now you have the chance. This is the one thing. And I always pray, please teach everyone how to love and forgive themselves. Because this was the reason of my biggest diseases. This was the reason of my biggest struggles. Still today, if I manifest any disease, I immediately check, okay? Where is the self-forgiveness bit this time? One thing if they give me, yes, there are so many things in this world to understand each other more. I wish people have more abundance and everything. But the first one, to teach us default. It is in our default, like eating, like sleeping, to love and forgive ourselves. It would be my biggest wish.
Thank you. And even though we mentioned some actions earlier, but I want you to give one more. If you were to give to the listener one actionable item, something related to what we've already discussed, something that they can start doing, especially if there are health problems. What would you say as one action? Something to do.
As one action that things when I started really helped me, because you need to learn to navigate how to work with yourself. There are 3 books that helped me when I was, again, but don't wait miracles, because of course there's a difference between going for help and doing the thing by yourself. But one was Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. The second one is the Light Chasers, The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Debbie Ford. It is also it's also a book which guided by the exercises, so that you can try to look at the dark side by yourself. And there are also lots of affordable programs which teach you self-healing. You don't need to work with me. There are also others who does this work. But you can also look for those programs who teach you this kind of mindful exercises, how to do it.
I will put those books in the show notes as well.
I can share.
Sure. So how can people connect with you and find out more about what you do in more detail?
So up to now, I was only working one-to-one with high-end packages, and because I like to see the results. I always say I'm a healer who still can work in corporate life, so I need to see the transformation. So therefore, I work two ways. I work in one-to-one transformation package, which is a very intimate relationship, meaning that sometimes I can just channel and send messages out of nowhere. It's a very intimate journey together for 3.5 months. This is one way. And the second way, this May, I have a self-healing course where I teach the things that mostly on the body struggles that I do on myself, and I give advice to the people. And they can find this information for both of those programs is purposefulvibes.com. My website is Purposeful Vibes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Gül, this has been a fascinating discussion, really.
Thank you.
I think we could probably talk twice as much, with, especially some elements I find personally intriguing. So I want to thank you very much for sharing all this with me today, and to wish you all the best for your journey from now on and helping others as well. Any last parting words from you?
Yeah, I would just want to say, I will mention my first healer, that Armenian lady. She's still teaching people Reiki and etc. by saying, look, once I had a student, she was so different to this world. She was the worst student that can ever be, and she became an amazing healer. So she always say, if she did it, anyone can do it. I was on the other extreme. So I want to tell everyone, so these things are not magic. These things are not for specific people. Yes, these are simple, not easy, but it takes time. But I always say these things are for everyone. So just take this inspiration and start with somewhere. Sometimes one journaling exercise, sometimes one course can do magic. The purpose is different for everyone. Maybe your purpose is serving through your art. Maybe your purpose is serving through podcasts. Maybe the purpose is serving through cooking the best food. I don't know. Everyone has a unique story. But please don't give up. It's possible for everyone.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and rate it on Apple Podcasts. And also share this episode with someone who you think will benefit from it. If you want to find out more about what I do and gain access to exclusive content, join my Facebook group Personal Development Mastery. The link is in the show notes, or you can simply type bit.ly/PDM group. And until next time, stand out, don't fit in.